Jack Harlan was a plant breeder, anthropologist, and professor of agronomy. He had a passion for understanding crop plants, their origins, the people who created them, and their use in sustaining the global human population. Jack was influenced from a young age by his father, Harry Harlan. Harry was a leader in barley investigations for the USDA, as well as a plant explorer. He collected barley from around the world, bringing home stories of adventure, eating different foods from around the world, and experiencing other cultures. When Jack was a young boy, he and his brother had the opportunity to travel to Arizona with their father and help with archaeological expeditions for Native American artifacts. As he grew up, he followed in his father's footsteps, getting a Bachelor of Science from the George Washington University in 1938 and his Ph.D. in genetics from the University of California at Berkeley in 1942. He was the first graduate student to receive a Ph.D. with the great botanist and evolutionist George Ledyard Stebbins. Stebbins was one of the leading evolutionary biologists of the 20th century and the president of the California Native Plant Society. He is credited with bringing a modern framework to the study of plant evolution. Dr. Harlan began his career with the USDA, directing the Oklahoma Forage Crop and Rangeland Improvement Program and the Southern Great Plains Regional Grass Breeding Program. In 1951, he became a professor of genetics at Oklahoma State University, Stillwater. He started out teaching on a limited basis, teaching classes in classical evolution. In 1961, he resigned from the USDA, moving into full-time teaching for the next 5 years. In 1966, he moved to the University of Illinois as professor of plant genetics in the Department of Agronomy. There, he and his colleague J. M. DeWitt founded the Crop Evolution Laboratory. Opportunities were established for graduate study in such fields as molecular systematics, numerical taxonomy, cytogenetics, ethnobotany, and genetics. The students studied evolutionary patterns of food crops, and Harlan often showed slides of exotic crops grown around the world. In 1984, after the death of his wife, he retired from the University of Illinois and relocated to New Orleans. He continued to write and lecture at many institutions, including Tulane University and the University of California, Davis. He published 2 books entitled Crops and Man in 1976 and The Living Fields in 1995. Jack Harlan received many awards throughout his career. Here he is pictured in 1976 holding his Frank N. Meyer Memorial Medal at the University of Illinois. Throughout his life, he introduced thousands of plant varieties to the United States from around the world. He added large contributions to knowledge of the evolution of crop plants. He also changed the way we look at origins of agriculture. He did not believe the hunter-gatherers were forced to cultivate plants, but that agriculture developed in multiple places over time. His long-standing view of multiple agricultural origins has stood over several decades. He held concerns about genetic vulnerability, committing himself to ex situ conservation of crops, or the importance of taking plant varieties out of their habitat and protecting them elsewhere. He is probably most recognized for the gene banks of collected plants he created throughout the world. These gene banks prove invaluable for plant breeders around the world to this day. Harlan believed that the value of a plant is not always known. In 1948, he collected a variety of wheat from eastern Turkey that had no apparent value to humans for food. This variety was weak and had very low yield, yet nearly 20 years later it became apparent that it is resistant to many races of stripe rust, common bunt, and dwarf bunt, as well as being tolerant to flag smut and snow mold. Plant breeding with this wild variety reduced losses by millions of dollars per year. The strong beliefs and hard work of Jack Harlan have left a legacy for botanists and geneticists around the world to this day.